Good. Okay, hi class. I'm going to take you on a tour of my yard and show you the sculptures I've made over the last 20 years or so. This is the first one I ever made. It's called Steel Willow, and it's made out of stainless steel pipes that usually they use for food processing like orange juice and milk and things, but I decided to stick them in the ground and make a sculpture. You can see they don't touch each other. They're all stuck in the ground with a lot of concrete so that they stand up on their own. And this one is hanging, so if you get a good stiff wind, it actually moves. And it's fun to watch on a nice windy day. Now we're going to walk quickly over to the next one. Okay, this one is called Iron Wolf, and it's made out of very solid, heavy plate metal that I had to cut each piece individually and then weld them together. And it's about 600 pounds total. The inspiration for this came from my family from Lithuania. This is an important symbol over there. It's a national symbol, and anybody who comes to visit us recognizes that right away. It's fun to show people when they come over from the old country. This one is Giant Ant. Never came up with a better name. If anybody can think of a better name for it, I'd be happy to call it. It's made out of a propane tank and two other propane tanks. Yes, I drained them out of propane and filled them with water before I cut them with a torch so they wouldn't explode. The legs are just made out of steel bars that I bent into shape. This one moves pretty easily, so I had it in a show recently. It's nice that some of them actually can go in a truck and be shown. This one is called Landline, and it got that name from the telephone pole. This telephone pole wasn't here. It used to actually run power to our barn, but when we buried the underground cable, I kept the pole and didn't know why, but 20 years later or so I had a good use of it, so I cut the top off and put it down and put my eagle up on top of it. This is a bicycle seat here. It's upside down. This is garage door opener chains, radiator fan from an old school bus, and the rest of the body is made out of radiator fans too. This one I think of as pterodactyls. I didn't really have anything in mind when I built it. It was made all out of scrap pieces from when I built the Iron Wolf. These were pieces that were laying on the floor in my barn. I picked them up and put it together in a couple, 2-3 hours. If you look right here, you can see this is the paw of the wolf, and all the other parts are too. This is the front leg in here. It's just, I found these pieces laying around. They look cool, so I put them together and made another sculpture. This one is the coat of arms of Lithuania, and it's made out of bicycle chains and metal behind it. I made a lot of these last summer. I made like a dozen of them. I gave them out to my family for Christmas, so there's a lot of them all over the country. I've got two I'm going to take to Lithuania next time I go and put them up there. I'll be really happy to have my work over there with the relatives. This one up here is deer head, obviously, and made out of horseshoes for the antlers, horseshoes for the face, and some plate metal holding it together. My sons had to help me bolt it onto the barn here. It was not easy because it's very heavy. I had to put wood behind it just to hold it up on the inside of the barn. Film through here. This is one in progress. I'll keep you posted. This is a totem pole that I'm working on. Given how long we might be out of school, I'll probably have it done and sharing that with you. This one is a rooster. I call him Champion Rooster because down here is a Champion spark plug. This was a lawnmower engine, and this is a car transmission, and so is that. These came off an old agricultural rake that was behind my barn. It was a piece of equipment that I had sitting around from our old farm. This is the cylinder, or the piston that used to go inside the engine. A spring from a car, and then this part I just created to fit in. He wobbles a little. This one's a giant tortoise. I think you saw pictures of this last time in the class meeting. His head is made out of horseshoes. It moves a little. This is stovepipe, and then the rest is just heavy plate metal that I had to make all the cuts and bends. My son helped me with it. That was a summer project. This one is the Jersey Devil. You probably heard of him. He lives in the Pine Barrens. He's a creature that some people believe he exists. Some people say he's a story, but I figured I heard all the stories as a kid, and I always wanted to have one, so I made my own. This is made out of an old tractor disc. Again, I had a tractor equipment behind my barn. This is springs from cars here. In fact, he springs. His whole body is one big spring, so it moves. This one is called Briggs, and he gets that name from this engine, which is a Briggs & Stratton. I thought that was a bit too long of a name. The whole body of it is made out of an old ride mower that I had here that stopped working. The head here is the engine off a power washer that also stopped working, so when things break around here, I don't throw them out. I find another use for them. These are lawnmower blades, which I just went to a mower shop, and they were happy to give them to me, and I go back and show them a picture, and they get a kick out of it. It's always nice that people help you out finding stuff like that. He was up in a show last year too. Move this and come around. This one is called General, and he gets that name because he was made from a fire extinguisher that's made by the General Fire Company or something like that. These are the gauges from the fire extinguisher. That's a nozzle. These are the handles. And of course the whole body is fire extinguisher. These are bicycle chains for the feet. And the side wings are made out of a post hole digger that I just cut the ends off and decided that would work good for wings. To come around back here, the back wings are just an old shovel that I welded on there and then sliced up to make the back wings. He's supposed to be guarding the garden, but he doesn't really do a great job. In fact, if you look, you can see right here, there's a bird's nest underneath him. They took over right after I put him there. And these are my pink flamingos because they're an American tradition to have pink flamingos in your yard, so I decided I'd have them too. They're made from old tire rims. These are garage door opener springs, and these are pruners, the kind you cut branches with in your yard. That worked for the head. The legs are, again, back to steel bar. It's easy to find and easy to use. I use it on a lot of things. When I'm not using horseshoes, I use steel bar. My wife calls them Mike and Millie because that's her parents' names. This one is called Hooray, H-U-R-E-T, but of course it sounds like hooray because he's a very excited bird. Hooray is the name of the derailleur that is used for his head. The whole thing is made out of old bicycles. These are spokes, bicycle chains for the body. These are the back ends of bicycles here. The uprights are like the tail end of the bike that holds the back wheel on. These are the gears and the spokes. This one is a Lithuanian cross. I made it as a memorial to my grandparents. My grandmother died about 3 years ago. She was the last one. She was almost 100. And this is a traditional cross you'll see in Lithuania in the churchyards and cemeteries. They always have a sun in the middle with rays going out. And these are old porch columns that I used to make it. And then this is just a garden ornament that worked really well for the sun. And of course, my horseshoes again. Show them the little placard there too. My grandparents' names on it. This one is one of my very few abstract sculptures. I just wanted it to look like a bush out in the yard. You can see there's bushes all around. So I wanted something that would blend in with nature. I tried to make it leaves. It's made out of an old pipe, basically. I used leaves and my favorite bars and stainless steel pipe to make it look like a flower in there. If you come around here, you can see there's a bird's nest that was built in there. In the little further along in the spring, these will all leaf out and you get a lot of nice green in here. So you have a combination of nature and sculpture. It really does start to look just like a tree. I have to come, or a bush rather, I have to come and trim these back because they'll take over. I want to keep the pipe showing. This one doesn't have a name either, if anybody can think of one. And this one's name is Singer. You can guess why. It's got the name right there. He was made out of, he or she, was made out of an old an old sewing machine, and the wings are for the sides of the sewing machine. This is a garage door spring once again, and other than that, all the parts are from the sewing machine. Here's the old foot pedal here. It's kind of got covered over with leaves, but you can see all the original parts. So I think you've seen them all. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my yard, and we'll talk about this when we get back to class, or we can talk about it in our virtual class. See you later.